With that, I thank you. I have a minute left. I'm going to yield to the gentleman from Ohio for a minute, Mr. Johnson.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and this will give me a chance to sort of set the stage a little bit. I hold both a bachelor's and a master's degree in computer science, and I've worked for over 30 years in the IT industry, and I've implemented large-scale systems like this, both within the military, within the Department of Defense, some of those systems globally. Some of them affected national security. Some of them held the success and failure of multi-billion-dollar companies in the balance. So I speak your language where you are, sitting, trying to figure out what went terribly wrong in an implementation that has cost the American taxpayers over $400 million, and the cost is continuing to rise. These are more than glitches. They can't be fixed. I'm going to explain why I believe they can't be fixed when I get back. It can be replaced at another large cost to the American taxpayer, but they can't be fixed. I'll explain that when I get back. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you very much. I'm going to yield the remainder of my time to my friend and colleague from Ohio, Mr. Johnson.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Let me continue. Here's why I believe this can't be fixed. It's got to be replaced. This, from what I have seen, based on my experience, this is indicative of failure somewhere along the line to employ the disciplined processes, methodologies, standards to deliver a system of this complexity. In layman's terms, so the American people can understand how complicated this is, this might help a little bit. You know, you can't recook eggs. You go into a restaurant and you order 2 eggs over medium, and the server brings you out 2 eggs scrambled. You got 2 choices. You either eat the eggs that you've got, which means you don't get what you ordered, or you send them back and the restaurant owner eats the cost of replacing those eggs. Somebody loses. In this case, it's the American people that's losing, because what we have here is either the development team, of which you folks are a part, did not follow a disciplined methodology, and therefore you didn't see the red flags that were coming up, which calls into question your capabilities and qualifications, or you didn't notify anybody in CMS, as Ms. Campbell has stated, when you saw the red flags coming up, which calls into question your judgment. The only other possibility is that CMS ignored your recommendations and moved forward with implementing a flawed system. Folks, the eyes of the nation are watching and listening to what's being said here today. Some of you are publicly traded companies. I suspect every government agency and every commercial company that you would do business with is watching what you say. I suspect your shareholders and stock analysts are also watching at what you say, because they're going to try to determine, is it your capabilities and qualifications that are at fault? Is it your judgment that's at fault? Or did CMS ignore your recommendations? And that's what we've got to get to the bottom of. And with that, I'll yield back. My gentleman my friend yielded, and hopefully I'm coming up next.
The gentleman is next in the queue, so you've got to notify.
All right, well, thank you. Mr. Slavitt, you stated in your testimony that, and if I read this correct, your performance is based on trusted data sources, correct? For the hub?
The data services hub
is based on trusted data sources. You assume that data is trustworthy, correct? And, well, Ms. Campbell in her testimony stated that, and if I go back to it, let me get back to it here. That as performance
the gentleman didn't let him answer. He was just.
I didn't ask a question yet. This is my time. I haven't asked a question, but when I do, I'll let you know.
I heard it.
When Ms. Campbell testified that when performance issues like slow response times and data assurance issues arose, they would be addressed through fine-tuning and optimization. So were you aware that data assurance issues were present Did anybody tell you about that? Did CGI tell you that there were problems with data assurance issues?
I'm not sure what was intended by that statement.
So CGI did not tell you that there were data assurance issues?
If there are issues made aware to our team addresses them discreetly and promptly.
Okay. Ms. Campbell, did you tell the independent tester that there were data assurance issues that you were aware of?
To make sure we have it in context, when testing occurs, right, which QSSI was.
I know how testing occurs. Did you? It's a very simple question. Did your company tell them that there were data assurance issues?
Out of context. Now that the system has gone live, just as one of the gentlemen commented on some of the errors that we're seeing on the 834s, we're now making those corrections.
Are you the PM? Are you the PM for the contract for your company?
I am not the project.
So you do not interface directly every day with CMS, correct? On a daily basis. As the program manager for the.
I am not. That is correct.
Okay.
I am not the program.
Your contract required you to deliver, your company to deliver a risk management plan. Have you delivered the risk management plan?
We have.
Can you provide a copy of it to this committee?
And with permission from CMS, yes, we can.
Okay. Well, we'll certainly be asking CMS for that as well. The contract also required that you recommend standards and industry best practices and key performance indicators. Now, you've testified earlier that you didn't make any recommendations to CMS about the performance of the system, that it was totally CMS that made these decisions. But yet the contract requires that you recommend standards and key performance indicators to make sure that everything works right. Did you just decide not to do that, or what?
So once again, for our portion of the system, we provided that information.
Well, that's not what your contract says. Were you aware that you were supposed to be performing under the CMS's exchange lifecycle management?
And we do.
Okay, you do. And tell me about the pre-operational readiness review and what it requires.
And so I'd have to give you, I wouldn't want to go into detail here.
Okay, well, let me go into detail for you. Here are some of the things that the pre-operational readiness review requires. Integration testing results, end-to-end testing results. Now, you have testified that CMS was responsible for end-to-end, but clearly your contract requires you to provide to them end-to-end and integration testing results. Test summary reports. An LOE estimate to achieve the operational readiness review. In other words, an estimate of what it was going to take to fix those things that were found at the pre-operational readiness review. Do you know when the pre-operational readiness review was supposed to be conducted?
So to be clear, the integrated.
No, when was the pre-operational readiness review supposed to be conducted?
Part of our system and our component.
When was the pre-operational readiness review supposed to be conducted? It's in your contract. Let me help you. It was Q4 of 2012. The operational readiness review, which also included a letter of estimate to support operations and maintenance, was supposed to be conducted in Q1 of 2013. Mr. Slavitt, did you participate in any of these reviews, the operational readiness review or the pre-operational readiness review?
Are you asking if I personally? No, I did not.
You did not. Did your company?
Our company participated in all the necessary reviews we committed to.
Okay, you said earlier that you were an independent tester. How can you be an independent tester when you are an integral developer of part of the system? How does that qualify you as independent?
We independently test code developed by other contractors.
Okay, but other contractors that are interfacing with you?
Other contractors on the project.
Were either the...
Gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you, Chairman.